What's up, everyone? Welcome to Talk Verty to Me. In this video, I'll be recapping my 2024 season and sharing my goals for 2025, something, I wanted to do to wrap out the year. So going into this year, I set the main goal of getting really good at mountain running. I set the goal of running 500,000 feet of vert on the year, or not running, but getting 500,000 feet of vert on the year through all of my sports. And my two main goal races at the start of the year were the Bloodroot 50k and then the Jigger Johnson 50 miler. And after that, I was just going to see what happened. I knew that maybe I'd want to run a marathon at the end of the year. I tend to like to end my season by doing that, but my main goal was getting into mountain running. Because sort of going into this year, I was a mostly like road runner. I had done 350Ks up to that point, but not really competitive, more just finishing. My main goal the year before in 2023 was breaking 3 hours in the marathon, which I did. And then after that, I was like, I'm going to become a really good like ultra mountain runner. I want to check out the 50-mile distance, the longer stuff, the all-day events. And so hitting that 500,000 feet of vert was sort of a progress goal where if I did that, I know it'd get me good preparation for the 50-miler. The mountainous 50 miler that has like 16,000 feet of elevation gain in it. And I was definitely getting a lot of my vert in the summer leading up to that 50 miler. And then after that in August leading up to the Kismet Cliff Race, which was a mountain half marathon that I did here in New Hampshire. But I guess in terms of that 500,000 foot goal, I crushed it. I'm currently sitting at 519,000 feet on the year with 1 day to go. However, that's not all running. It's predominantly running. 390,000 feet of that is running, a little over that. But a good portion of that was also ski touring. So I got 84,000 feet of elevation gain ski touring. And I'd like that number to be even higher, honestly. But I'm pretty happy with that. I was pretty new to ski touring going into this year. And, provided a great winter stimulus of getting vert, which was awesome. I also had some from, like, cross-country skiing, some from cycling that added up to put me over that 500,000 feet. But, yeah, that goal was a success, and I think that it led to successes in my races this year. I guess for other stats, the most important thing probably is time. So training hours, I track by hours, not mileage. And so I got 550 hours of training this year, which is a lot higher than ever before. I think in 2023 I had like 390 hours, and so I bumped that up to 550 hours, and I'm hoping to bump it up even more in 2025. And in terms of running distance, I got 2,326 miles running, which isn't crazy high. It was my highest ever, but mostly because I didn't get injured at all. But I had a long period of like, doing more cross training through skiing in the winter, and just less miles and more vert in the summer when I was training. But that 2,300 miles, that's still pretty solid. I'm happy with that. But again, something that I want to increase this upcoming year. Sort of chronologically, how my season went. In terms of racing, I started off the year by racing the Raquette River Marathon, which was not competitive, but a marathon that was giving out prize money up in northern New York. And I wanted to go and try to win, and I ran, and I ran conservative, just trying to stay in first place, and ran 3:05 and won $250, which I was pretty psyched about. First time ever winning a race, and to get prize money from it was exciting, and like netted a profit on the trip. So that was fun. And I went with my friend John, so that was a good time. After that, though, it was all focusing on the mountain running, because I was running the Bloodroot 50k in Vermont in May, and I had, one 50k training day leading up to that on the roads, which was cool, and just some early mountain adventures, which were also fun. I have videos on a lot of this if you go back and look at my YouTube videos. But the Bloodroot 50k went awesome. I finished 5th overall. I ran 5:11 on a course that has 7,000 feet of elevation gain, a lot of off-trail sections, so I was super pumped with that too. Yeah, and Bloodroot made me think, like, I have a long way to go. 5th place at a regional race isn't anything to go crazy about, but it shows that, like, at least that was my first time really competing in an ultra, and I wasn't just going at like an all-day pace. I was like going at a harder effort than easy, which was fun. And then between that and the Jigger Johnson 50 miler, I went on a trip to Ireland with my family, and when I was there, I targeted an FKT, the Dublin 7 Summits FKT, which was really cool. I think one of my better videos. It connects the 7 peaks outside of Dublin, Ireland, and I got that FKT by 7 seconds. It was like a 20-something mile effort that took a little over 4 hours. So the fact that it came down to 7 seconds is pretty hilarious, but that was quite an adventure and super fun. And then I ran the Jigger Johnson 50 miler. I put in awesome like 5-hour training long runs going into it. I did one at Mount Moosilauke where I got like 8,000 feet of elevation gain in 5 hours. And I really grinded on the weekends. I left some room to grow on the weekday training, but on the weekends I think I flourished. And that race was awesome. I wasn't sure how competitive it was going to be. It was the first year. It was an Aravaipa race. And I ended up finishing 5th place. I moved up in the field throughout the race, which was awesome. And it was so much fun. I loved being out there for a really long time. And when I finished, like, I think that I could have gone faster. I think early on I could have gone faster. But got me really excited for longer races in the future. And so after that, I'd been hiking a lot for Jigger Johnson, but I wanted to run after that. And so I signed up for the Kismet Cliff Race, and I started running like steep climbs, running super slow, that granny gear. But I was getting up to a point where I was able to actually keep a running gait on 1,000 feet per mile, like 20% grade. And I sort of tested that by running the Mount Hale FKT, which I've done a time trial on Mount Hale the last 3 years, and I ran my fastest time yet, got the FKT, and was significantly faster, especially on the uphill. Downhill still left a little bit to be desired, but that showed that, my uphill running has been getting amazing. Then I ran the Kismet Cliff Race, and it was a pretty competitive race. Dan Kurtz was there and blew everyone out of the water. And set new course record under 2 hours, but I got to the top of that climb. It's a 4,000 foot climb in 3rd overall, and I was really pumped. But on the downhill, I did get past. Downhill's still something I need to work on, but I finished 4th overall, which to that point I think was my best race ever. I got everything out of myself on that climb and really pushed hard, and it was super fun. And showed, the runnable, or not runnable, but the short mountain races are fun, but I love running during a race. And then I ended out my year with some road and flat running stuff. So I did a short training block for a half marathon and ran 1:18:30 something, and really blew myself away with that. I was not expecting to run that fast, and showed me like, oh, maybe I can run 2:45 this year or something crazy. Because that's sort of what that 1:18 was projecting to. I ran a flat half marathon on the trails in Massachusetts, the Stonecat Trail half, and that was my first time ever running in a front pack. I stuck into like a lead pack of 5 people for the whole race and ended up coming out 3rd in a sprint finish where I got beat out. But that was super fun. Showed that I really want to compete, and I learned some lessons in my first time racing tactically there. And then, my big race for the fall was the Philadelphia Marathon, where I had some injuries. I had some niggles leading up to it, just from over racing, to be honest, but it was good to race a lot and gain experience. But at that race, I ran 2:53, and I think I realized that on a better training cycle, on a better day, I can run a whole lot faster than that. And yeah, but made the marathon. The marathon was fun. I liked the marathon. I think I'll want to end my year with a marathon most years. Yeah, but that was sort of a wrap on 2024. It was awesome. I fell more in love with running than I ever have before, and I keep on getting like more and more stoked for training. And going into 2025, I got to try out a lot of different style of racing in 2024, and it made me realize that I like the long stuff. I love the 50k to 100k, so like the the 4 to 12 hour sort of time frame, really, I think. And I also realized that I love running. Like, I liked how I could run a lot of the Blood Route 50k, and I could run a lot of the Kismet Cliff Race. And I think for me right now, for the longer stuff, that means keeping it to around 200 feet per mile would kind of be my strength. And that I'm not the best at technical downhills. So getting something that is steep but not technical is sort of ideal. And that's why in 2025, my A goal is going to be the Vermont 100k, which happens in July. I think Vermont 100k is the most competitive sort of ultra race in the Northeast. I think it's more competitive than the Vermont 100 mile now. And it's 11,000 feet of elevation gain in the 100k, which is, you know, right around that 200 feet per mile. It's on sort of like dirt roads and Jeep roads, so I think it should be perfect, and I'm really excited for that. I still need to get in to the race. There technically is a lottery, but I think everyone's gotten in the previous years, so I should be good there. And I signed up for the Drummer Hill 50k, which I did back in 2022, and that'll be sort of a tune-up where it's a similar level of elevation gain. And I'm hoping to run really fast there. I know the course record's around 4:30, and you know, I'm gonna go out swinging in 2025. I'm gonna try to win races. It'll be a big jump for me, but I'm willing to put in the work. And then I think I'll try to end at the Manchester Marathon here in New Hampshire, and again, try to get podium there, try to win. It usually is a low 240 that you have to run, but I'm sort of all in. Yeah, I'm hungry. I want to be competitive in this sport, and I'm gonna grind for it. My main goal this year is sort of like hours training. You know, I had that 500,000 feet of vert goal last year. This next year, I'm hoping to maybe hit like 750 hours, which would be a lot. That would be 15-hour weeks. But I think that's what I got to do if I want to compete for wins. And I'm also trying to take more rest days this year too, so that'll squeeze my weeks down to 6 days instead of 7. But I think it'll help me adapt better. And I'll be doing a lot of biking on Zwift for my cross training, sort of running 5 days a week and then biking maybe 3 days a week. Yeah, I'm going to start stacking blocks one by one. I'm going to start running consistently again after a short break at the end of December. Yeah, I'm really excited for 2025. I think it should be a big year. Hoping to stay healthy. That's always priority number one. And get in a lot of training. Anyways, stay along for the journey. I'll be putting out videos like I have, like roughly once a week in 2025. Yeah, and if you enjoyed this, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and as always, keep on running.